Welcome into Factfinder Investigates. I'm Dylan Doming. It has been over a week since a natural gas leak in downtown Hutchinson caused a building explosion and an evacuation order in the surrounding area that does remain in place at this time. We want to show you the video released by the Hutchinson Fire Department where crews were responding to a report of a gas odor, and within minutes an explosion at Steffens Auto Parts. Thankfully no one was hurt as crews were able to get out of the building just seconds before that explosion took place. Now the NTSB is still investigating, but the gas leak has left many businesses unable to operate, and many people, including city officials, are looking to the Kansas Gas Service for when more answers and aid will be provided. Factfinder investigator Keenan Penn begins our coverage tonight.
The community in Hutchinson now expecting answers on how to move forward after a gas explosion at an auto parts store shut down the surrounding area.
A couple of businesses are shuttered and people are going without paychecks right now, and Kansas Gas is clearly not present to provide information to them.
And after 6 days of monitoring and containing, the Hutchinson Fire Department is now released from the scene.
The fire department finished wrapping up all their hose lines and equipment that was deployed.
And even with the decreased evacuation zone, business owners and workers still haven't been allowed on their properties.
Residents are frustrated, business owners are frustrated. They want clear answers from Kansas Gas.
Hutchinson Mayor Stacy Gross says that despite its efforts to help people file claims, residents feel that the Kansas Gas Service has not been as helpful as it should be.
I am confident that our first responders, our mutual aid partners, that we followed our protocol to the letter. The frustration currently stems from Kansas Gas and their lack of communication.
And as for workers like the ones at the Hutchinson Tyson facility, there is still no set date for them to return to work.
That's what I'm concerned about, is the impact that this is having on our residents who are going without a paycheck, including our business owners who are not able to service their clients and continue their operations.
The Hutchinson Fire Department says that the business owners will be briefly escorted back into their buildings on Friday to grab important items left behind. In Hutchinson, Keenan Penn, 12 News.
We are also hearing this week from the owner of Steffens Auto Parts. That's the building and business that was destroyed by that explosion last weekend. The owner, Darren Clifford, says he got out of his business about 15 minutes before that explosion took place. Clifford says Saturday started like most days, with the smell of gas caught his attention though. He says he'd been there about 90 minutes before he noticed the smell. And after trying to find a leak inside of the building, he noticed firefighters outside also checking for a leak. When they came to his business, they told him to leave. He turned off the furnace, got his coat, and then went to his truck. About 15 minutes later is when that explosion happened. Darren says he remained in his truck watching his business and home go up in flames.
Didn't expect anything to happen. You know, I just was going to sit there a while and see what they was going to do. And I went down a couple blocks, and when I turned onto Main Street, I could see the big mushroom cloud when it blew up. And I pulled up here and it was 100% engulfed in flames.
Now, in addition to the shop, Darren says inside a number of old cars were also destroyed. He says even though everything is gone, he wants to look through what is left of his business. And this building explosion has many thinking back to the multiple explosions that happened back in 2001. Hutchinson Fire Chief Stephen Beer says the 2001 gas explosion was caused by a gas leak at a natural gas storage well traveling underground until it reached the surface. But that gas was odorless and was very hard to detect. Last week's explosion involved natural gas that you could smell, so firefighters were able to alert people inside to evacuate. A don't fall for it alert. Kansas Representative Sharice Davids and the Social Security Administration warning you of a scam so you don't fall for it. Colonel is trying to alert potential retirement applicants to their website. So take a look at this email. The post appears to be from the SSA with the subject line claim benefits. Clicking the link brings you to a scam website though, and the SSA says delete that email and do not click any of the links. Well, it was the announcement that brought a lot of relief to Wichita and surrounding communities. This week marking 20 years since Dennis Rader, known as BTK for bind, torture, and kill, was arrested, ending a decades-long search for the serial killer. Factfinder investigator Cale Chapman spoke with Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett, who at the time was an assistant prosecutor, about the arrest and what it took to close the case.
We started getting buzz around the office on Friday night late that they had the guy. They'd identified him. And I remember going, what's his name? and I heard Raider.
Dennis Rader was arrested 20 years ago on February 25th of 2005, driving near his home in Park City. During that arrest, an officer asked Rader, "Do you know why you're going downtown?" Rader responded, "I have suspicions why." Rader admitted to murdering 10 people and was sentenced to serve 10 consecutive life sentences. Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett was an assistant prosecutor at the time of the arrest and said police left no stone unturned identifying Rader.
Collected swabs from 1,000 people, ran down every old lead, looked at every old case, just an unbelievable amount of time and man hours. There was no AI in 2005 for people to run an algorithm through.
But Bennett credits one Wichita police detective with keeping the case alive and spearheading the investigation.
Kenny was a much better cop than Rader was a criminal.
Ken Landwehr.
Lieutenant Landwehr was in charge of the homicide unit at the Wichita Police Department for over 20 years. He knew it all just like that. Remembered every case, remembered every fact of every case. So it was something that consumed him for a long time. So what I remember 20 years ago is the big press conference at the city. Kenny was the last one to speak, as I recall. And I just remember thinking, you finally got him.
In Wichita, Kiel Chapman, 12 News.
And Rader was sentenced to serve 10 consecutive life sentences. He does remain in the El Dorado Correctional Facility today. He is now 79 years old. So to come on, Factfinder investigates years of recommendations from the NTSB after airline crashes, but many of them not yet implemented. We look at where the holdup is at.